Have you ever felt it? That profound, almost painful ache for a connection so deep it feels like destiny? A feeling that despite all your efforts, the love you seek remains just out of reach, leaving you to wonder if something is fundamentally missing within you. What if I told you that the endless cycle of disappointment and superficial connections isn't your fault, but the result of searching for love in all the wrong places? What if the key wasn't to find someone to complete you, but to become so whole that the universe itself has no choice but to bring your true counterpart to you? Before we unlock this profound secret, I need to ask you for a small favor that makes a huge difference. A vast number of people who find answers and comfort in these videos, people just like you, are watching without being subscribed. If these ideas resonate with you, please take a single moment to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. By doing so, you join a community of souls on the same journey and ensure you never miss the next piece of the puzzle. And while you're there, please press the like button to help this message find others who need to hear it. And let me know in the comments, where in the world are you watching from? I want to see just how far Carl Jung's life-changing wisdom is traveling to help us connect. Now listen closely. There is a moment that you cannot force, you cannot rush, and you absolutely cannot fake. It's a moment Carl Jung called the meeting of prepared souls. This isn't a romantic fantasy. It is a profound psychological truth he discovered after decades of studying the human psyche. When two souls are truly ready for each other, the universe conspires in ways your rational mind will never be able to explain. It's that strange, undeniable feeling that someone walked into your life precisely when you needed them most. An inexplicable connection that goes far beyond logic. This happens because your unconscious mind is like a secret garden you have been tending to your entire life. Every heartbreak, every moment of loneliness wasn't a punishment. It was the sacred work of preparing the soil. And when you are finally ready, your soul blooms and attracts exactly what it needs through what Jung called synchronicity, that invisible force that orchestrates the right people in the right moments. But here's the secret. This magic only works when you are aligned with your true self, when you are no longer desperately seeking someone to fill your voids. It's the ultimate paradox. You must first become whole to meet your other half. You must love yourself fiercely to truly love another. Stay with me, because what I'm about to reveal will not just change how you see love. It is the map to becoming the person who can attract the love your soul has been preparing for its entire life. Jung observed something fascinating in his patients. Those who were desperate to find love, those who jumped from relationship to relationship trying to fill an internal void, rarely found what they were looking for. Instead, those who had gone through what he called the dark night of the soul, those who had faced their inner demons, who had learned to be alone without being lonely, those were the ones who suddenly found themselves with connections that seemed orchestrated by destiny itself. Why does this happen? Because when you are desperate for love, you project that desperation. Your energy screams, I need. And that energy of need attracts exactly that. People who also need, people who are also incomplete, people who see in you not a partner but a solution to their own voids. But when you have done the inner work, when you have faced your shadows, when you have healed your childhood wounds, when you have learned to enjoy your own company, then you radiate something completely different. You radiate fullness. You radiate an energy that says, I am whole, and from this wholeness I can share with you. And that energy attracts souls who have also done their inner work. Jung called it the principle of individuation, the process by which a person truly becomes themselves, integrating both the light and the shadow, both the virtues and the defects, both the strengths and the vulnerabilities. And here is the magic. When two individuated people meet, they do not complete each other. They multiply each other. Think of it this way. When two incomplete people get together, it is like adding fractions. 0.5 plus 0.5 makes 1. They are trying to create completeness from incompleteness. But when two whole people meet, it is like multiplying whole numbers. One that is one, but the quality of that unity is completely different. It is a unity that arises from abundance, not from lack. And when this happens, when two truly prepared souls meet, the universe seems to rearrange itself around them. Coincidences multiply, obstacles vanish, the pieces fit together in ways that seem impossible. Jung documented hundreds of cases where couples who were destined to be together experienced sequences of synchronicities so extraordinary that they defied all rational explanation. There was a couple that Jung studied for years. They met in a bookstore, both looking for the same obscure book on medieval alchemy. They discovered that they had been born in the same hospital just a few hours apart. Their mothers had shared a room. They had grown up in different cities but had visited the same places on the same dates without knowing it. Their personal diaries, which they had kept for years before meeting, contained almost identical reflections on love, life, and purpose. It was as if their souls had been having conversations across time and space, preparing for the moment of their meeting. Coincidence? Jung knew it was not. He knew that when two souls are truly ready to love each other, they create what he called a morphogenetic field of attraction, an invisible field of energy that reorganizes probabilities, that attracts the right circumstances, that creates the perfect setting for the encounter. But here is what most people don't understand. This field is not activated from desperation. It is not activated from need. It is activated from fullness. It is activated when you have done the work of knowing yourself so deeply that your soul can recognize its complement when it appears. If this truth is opening a new space in your mind, if you are beginning to see your past experiences in a completely different light, then continue with me, because what is coming will show you exactly how to know if you are ready and how to prepare your soul for this type of love. Jung identified several archetypes that we all carry within us: the hero, the shadow, the anima and the animus, the sage, the lover. And he discovered something extraordinary. When you are in love with someone who is not for you, you are generally projecting one of these archetypes onto that person. You see in them not who they really are, but who you need them to be to complete some undeveloped part of yourself. For example, if your hero archetype is underdeveloped, you will feel irresistibly attracted to people who seem strong, dominant, capable of rescuing you. But that attraction is not real love. It is psychological dependence. It is your psyche trying to find outside what you need to develop inside. Or if your anima or animus, that internal masculine or feminine part that we all possess regardless of our gender, is poorly integrated, you will project romantic idealizations onto people who represent that energy that you have not developed in yourself. You will fall in love with fantasies, not real human beings. But when you have done the work of developing and integrating these archetypes within yourself, when your inner hero is awakened, when you have made peace with your shadow, when your anima or animus are balanced, then you no longer project. Then you can see people as they really are, and from that clarity, from that absence of projection, real love can happen. Real love is not when someone completes your shortcomings. Real love is when someone celebrates your completeness and you celebrate theirs. It is when two complete inner worlds decide to merge not out of necessity, but for the pure joy of creating something greater than the sum of its parts. And when this happens, when two truly prepared souls recognize each other, the experience is unmistakable. Jung described it as the recognition of the eternal in the other. It is as if you suddenly remember something you always knew, but had forgotten. It is like coming home after a very long journey. It is like finding the other half of a conversation you have been having with yourself your whole life. The couples who experience this type of connection describe very similar sensations. They speak of a feeling of already being together even before the first physical encounter. They speak of shared dreams, of constant synchronicities, of a communication that transcends words. They speak of feeling completely seen and accepted, including their darkest and most vulnerable parts. But here is the important thing. This type of love is not always easy. It is not the fairy tale love that Hollywood sold us. It is a love that challenges you, that makes you grow, that confronts you with aspects of yourself that you would rather ignore. Jung called it Opus contra naturam, the work against nature. Because real love requires you to transcend your basic instincts of self-protection and open yourself completely to another soul. It is the type of love that transforms you, that forces you to evolve, that does not allow you to remain who you were before the encounter. And that transformation, that death of the old self and birth of the new self, can be both beautiful and terrifying. Many people, when they encounter this type of connection, run away. They run away because it is too real, too intense, too transformative. They prefer more superficial, more predictable, more controllable relationships. But those who stay, those who embrace the transformation, discover dimensions of love they didn't even know existed. Jung had a client who described her relationship this way: "It is as if we were two pianists playing the same symphony on different pianos. Sometimes we play the same note at the same time without having agreed on it. Sometimes one of us plays a note that the other needed to hear at exactly that moment. And sometimes it seems that it is not us who are playing, but that the music is playing through us." That is the feeling of love between prepared souls. It is not possessive, it is not needy. It does not try to change the other or to be changed by the other. It is collaborative, it is co-creative. It is as if both people were instruments in the hands of something larger, creating a music that neither could create on their own. And if you are still here, if these words are stirring something deep inside you, it means that you are not like the others, and that you are ready to go beyond superficial conceptions of love towards something that can transform your entire life. But maybe you are wondering, how do I know if I am ready? How do I know if my soul is prepared for this type of connection? Jung identified several clear signs, and if you pay attention, you will probably recognize some in your own experience. First sign: you are no longer afraid of being alone. In fact, you enjoy your solitude. You are not desperately filling it with distractions, superficial relationships, or compulsive activities. You have learned to be with yourself, to enjoy your own company, to find peace in silence. This is not an empty or sad solitude, it is a full, rich, fertile solitude. It is the type of solitude that prepares you for a real connection, because you no longer need someone else to feel complete. Second sign: you have faced and begun to integrate your shadow. Do you know what your dark sides are, your destructive patterns, your unhealed wounds? You do not deny them, you do not project them onto others, you do not hide them desperately. You recognize them, you accept them, and you consciously work with them. This integration of the shadow is crucial because when you have not done it, you unconsciously attract people who represent your unrecognized parts, and those relationships always end up being stormy. Third sign: your standards have completely changed. You are no longer looking for someone to make you feel special, to validate your ego, to make you feel safe or protected. You are looking for someone with whom you can grow, with whom you can create, with whom you can explore the depths of existence. You seek substance over surface, depth over drama, authenticity over performance. Fourth sign: you have begun to experience synchronicities related to love. Maybe you find the same book about relationships in 3 different places in the same week. Maybe you have recurring dreams about a person you have not yet met physically. Maybe you receive messages from the universe, repeated numbers, strange coincidences, signs that seem to be preparing you for something. These synchronicities are like waves that precede the arrival of something significant. Fifth sign, and perhaps the most important: you feel a strange calm about your romantic future. There is no desperation, no urgency, no fear of being alone. There is a deep, almost inexplicable confidence that the right thing will come at the right time. It is as if something inside you knows that your person is on their way, and you can wait patiently because you know that what is coming will be worth it. If you recognize these signs in your own experience, then it is very likely that you are in the final stages of preparation. Your soul is aligning for a connection that will change your life. And when that person appears, you will know, not because your mind tells you so, but because every cell in your being will recognize it. Jung documented that couples destined to be together often experience what he called annunciation dreams. Dreams where a person appears whom they do not yet know, but who feels strangely familiar. Dreams where they receive messages about important changes that are approaching in their love life. Dreams where they feel a protective or guiding presence that tells them to prepare for something beautiful. One of his patients had a recurring dream for months. She was walking through an infinite library, looking for a specific book that she knew contained something important for her future. In the dream, she never found the book, but she always had the feeling that someone else was looking for it at the same time. 6 months later, she met her husband in a bookstore. He was looking for exactly the same book she had been looking for in her dreams. It was as if their souls had been preparing the encounter. Through dreams, creating a perfect synchronicity. But here is what Jung discovered was most important. It is not enough to be ready. You also have to be willing to receive. Many people, after years of disappointments, develop what he called resistance to love. They build walls so high to protect themselves from pain that when real love comes, they cannot recognize it or cannot allow it to enter. This resistance manifests itself in many ways. Some people sabotage themselves just when things start to go well. Others find non-existent flaws in perfectly compatible people. Others get stuck in superficial or toxic relationships because they are more familiar, more predictable, less threatening to their comfort zone. The resistance to love is understandable. If you have been deeply hurt, it is natural for your psyche to want to protect you from future wounds. But Jung discovered that this protection, although understandable, can prevent you from receiving exactly what you have been looking for all your life. That is why the inner work is so crucial. It not only prepares you to recognize real love when it comes, but it also gives you the courage to receive it, to open yourself to it, to allow it to transform your life. And that transformation, that is the real magic of love between prepared souls. When two people who have done this work meet, they not only create a relationship, they create a transformative energy field that affects everything they touch. Their children, if they have them, grow up in an environment of genuine love and emotional security. Their friends and family are inspired by the quality of their connection. Their work in the world becomes more effective because they are operating from a place of inner fullness. Jung called them the alchemist couples of love, because just as the medieval alchemists tried to transform base metals into gold, these couples transform the ordinary experiences of life into moments of profound meaning. They transform challenges into opportunities for growth. They transform conflicts into opportunities for deeper understanding. They transform everyday moments into celebrations of human connection. And here is the beautiful thing. Once you have experienced this type of love, once you have tasted what is possible when two truly prepared souls meet, you can never again settle for less. Not because you are demanding or a perfectionist, but because you know that there is something deeper, more real, more transformative. This does not mean that these relationships are perfect or that they do not have challenges. On the contrary, because they are so real, so authentic, they can be more challenging than superficial relationships. But the challenges are faced together as a team, with love and mutual understanding. Conflicts become opportunities to get to know each other more deeply. Differences are celebrated as complementarities that enrich the connection. Jung observed that couples who had found this type of love developed what he called a third mind. They did not lose their individual identities, but they created something new, a shared intelligence, a wisdom that arose from the fusion of their unique perspectives. This third mind could solve problems that neither could solve. It could see opportunities that would be invisible to a single person. It could create beauty and meaning in ways that transcended individual capabilities. It is as if they became conscious co-creators of their shared reality. Every important decision is made from this third mind. Every dream is pursued with the full support of the other. Every challenge is faced with the combined resources of both souls and the synchronicities. The synchronicities multiply exponentially. Jung documented cases where such couples experienced sequences of coincidences so extraordinary that they seemed to be living in a different reality from the rest of the world. Opportunities appeared out of nowhere. Problems were magically solved. The right people appeared at the perfect moment. It was as if the entire universe was conspiring to support their union. But perhaps the most beautiful thing of all is the way these couples grow old together. Jung observed that while other couples grew apart over time, becoming strangers who share a house, the couples of prepared souls became more connected, more intimate, more in love with each passing year. They developed what he called telepathic love. They could feel each other's emotions at a distance. They could communicate with glances. They could anticipate each other's needs before they were expressed. It was not codependence. It was a healthy interdependence, where each one maintained their individuality while participating in something larger. Their last years together were not about resignation or routine comfort. They were about the continuous deepening of a connection that had begun in the dimensions of the soul and continued to expand into unexplored territories of intimacy and mutual understanding. Jung wrote about a couple who had been married for 50 years. In their 80s, they still wrote love letters to each other. They still surprised each other with small romantic gestures. They still had conversations that lasted until the early hours of the morning. When he died first, she said, "I don't feel like he's gone. I feel like we are finally complete. His soul and mine were always one. And now that he is free from his body, I can feel that unity more clearly than ever. And so, you now hold the promise of a love that is not just for this life, but for eternity. A connection that transcends time, space, and even death itself, bringing you as close as humanly possible to touching the divine. Remember, you cannot force this. You cannot manipulate it. This profound love is not a prize to be won, but a truth to be embodied. Your only task, your most sacred mission, is to prepare yourself by doing the inner work, healing your wounds, integrating your shadow, and trusting that the universe will do its part when you have done yours. You must believe that somewhere out there, your cosmic complement is also on this journey, being guided by the same invisible forces that are guiding you. They may be on the other side of the world, speaking a language you don't understand. But when your souls finally recognize each other, every scar from your past will make sense. Every lonely night will be seen for what it was, the price of admission for a love that truly works. You are not an ordinary person seeking an ordinary love. You are an extraordinary soul preparing for an extraordinary connection, and that preparation is the single most important adventure of your life. If this truth has vibrated within your soul, then you are part of an invisible community preparing to transform the world through authentic love. Before you go, I invite you to make this journey real. To anchor this profound truth within your being, I want you to write a powerful comment for me, something quick and potent. Comment with the affirmation, "I am ready for cosmic love." And as you do, please press the like button so this message can ripple out and find other souls who need to hear it. A surprising number of people who watch these videos have not yet subscribed. If you feel called to continue this journey with us, and you don't want to miss the next revelation, please hit that subscribe button now. The universe is preparing you for something beautiful. Trust the process, do the work, and remain open to the magic that is already on its way. Because when two souls, truly prepared like yours, finally meet, something happens that changes the world forever.